they talking real loud, spreading no lie, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Got my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda swirling, but it won't touch me. Only love around us, how it's gonna be. We keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track.
Another Queen Ahmadiyyah production.
Haze on the corner, they talking real loud, spreading no lie, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Got my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda swirling, but it won't touch me. Only love around us, how it's gonna be. We keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle.
All right, hello everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your daily vitamins. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. Okay, so before we get it started, let's have a brief word from my sponsor at 12 Tribes.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
All right, so with that all been said, don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes Hair Oil at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts. You can also find it at Walmart.com. Okay, so let's get ready to get into it. Shout out to all of my loyal royals in the chat and everyone tuned into the Queen. And a big shout out to my moderators because y'all know they be putting in work. Okay, and they do a good job keeping the trolls at bay. Okay, so let's get into it because you all know that court was canceled today. Okay, I, for one, was disappointed, but I was a little happy at the same time because I got to go home early and go and, just do some things, walk around the city, just do a little sightseeing and do some things that I normally don't get to do because my entire time here has been consumed with being in court at the trial. Okay, I literally get up at like 3 or 4 in the morning. I'm usually down at the courthouse by 5. And then court ends sometimes at 3 o'clock, sometimes at 5. So my day is consumed, people. And by the time I get to the house, I am tired. All I want to do is take a shower, eat something, and go to bed. Okay? But here I am. And Brendan Paul, the alleged rug mule, well, his testimony has been put on pause. Okay, we'd hoped to hear from him yesterday, but of course they had the expert, or not the expert, the agent, talking about all of the charts and the text messages and all the information found on the different devices, from Cassie's to Christina Courtroom's and all of that. And so we didn't get to hear from him. And then today, here we are, we got sent home. I just find that there's a lot of shenanigans going on as this trial has, as it's coming to a close. We don't have much time left. As I told you, There's about two more witnesses, Brendan Paul, and there's another person testifying for the prosecution. And then the defense says that they need 2 to 5 days, okay, to finish up their portion. Now, with that all being said, there is no court tomorrow because it's Juneteenth. Friday, we only have a half of day. We're going to be in court from 9 to 1. So this is going to slow things down just a little bit, put us in a little bit of a delay. But I find it very interesting that this juror got sick on the way to court. You know, we seem to be having a myriad of juror issues so late in the game. Now, just days ago, Juror 6 was dismissed, although the defense team fought hard and made their arguments and pleas to the judge to keep him on the jury. But they weren't going for it. They kicked him off. And now, then we heard there were issues with juror number 7. Okay, we still didn't really get to the bottom of that. And then today, a juror calls in sick. Okay, so I find this all very interesting. So now, but here's the thing. Yes, Gwendolyn said sounds suspect, Queen. It absolutely does. Okay, I find it all interesting. Red said, Queen putting in that real work. Thank you, beloved. So with that all being said, here's the thing. Now the defense wants some get back. Okay? The defense wants some get back because now the defense wants the sick juror to be ousted from the trial. Okay? Just like they got rid of juror number 6, the defense wants this person gone, and this person is allegedly a Caucasian male. Okay, so it looks like there's a bit of tit for tat going on here. So let's get into it. And also, the judge issued some orders, which I'll get into because I do have those legal documents. We'll talk about that momentarily. Now, Diddy's defense wants the sick juror dismissed. Recent court proceedings in Sean Diddy Combs' trial were unexpectedly adjourned due to a sick juror. Specifically, a juror experienced vertigo symptoms while on the way to court on Wednesday, June the 18th, and had to return home. Judge Aaron Subramanian halted proceedings for the day, saying they could not continue without the juror. It is important to clarify that this was not a dismissal. The judge stated that the court would inquire about the juror's condition to determine if it was temporary or a longer term issue. Now, this incident comes just a couple of days after the judge had or did dismiss juror number 6 over concerns about their honesty regarding their residency. Diddy's legal team objected to the dismissal of juror number 6, arguing that it would prejudice his right to a fair trial, particularly as this juror was a Black male and they felt it affected the jury's diversity. They even requested a mistrial if the juror had to be removed, but this appeal was denied. Now, regarding the sick juror, there is no indication as of yet that Diddy's team has made a motion to dismiss them, but I'm sure they will. And why wouldn't they? Because here's the thing. Like I said, they fought to keep that Black juror on because they knew that would possibly benefit Diddy, but he was taken off anyway. So do you think that if they have a chance to get rid of a Caucasian male, they're not going to go for it? Well, I absolutely believe they will. And here's the thing. Now, did the juror, because this is the question that I have, did this juror inform the court during the voir dire process that they in fact had vertigo? I have questions because if they did not, that's a violation. And if they were so quick to dismiss juror number 6, I would think that they would do the same to this person. That would only be fair in the eyes of the law, as far as I can see. Because it is a fact, as I said, that you're supposed to disclose certain medical conditions when you are chosen for a jury. Now, let's talk about it because the medical condition that this man has is vertigo. Reminds me of that movie by Alfred Hitchcock, if any of you have ever seen it. Okay, so hold on, I'm going to pull up something real quick. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Now, and for those of you who don't know what vertigo is, it's usually someone who has like a fear of heights. It's you have like you feel like you're spinning, okay? Like you are dizzy and you feel unsteady, imbalanced, or you may experience nausea. And this usually is called, for most people, it's usually caused by some issue with the inner ear, okay, or the central nervous system that controls balance. Okay, so people feel dizzy, like they want to pass out. Sort of, I would imagine that it would feel sort of like motion sickness if I had to guess. Now, but let's look this up just to make sure that I know what I'm talking about. And I believe that I do. Does a juror have to disclose a medical condition? Let's take a look here. Google is your friend, people. Okay, Google is your friend. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Now, in many jurisdictions, a doctor's note is required to verify a medical condition that would prevent a person from serving on a jury. Hold on. This is basically, hold on, let me reword this or rephrase it, because this is basically someone who doesn't want to be on the jury. Hold on. Let me put if they're chosen. Hold on. Hold on, beloveds. Don't forget to like and share. Thank you in advance. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to share this on the screen. Reggie says, my brother has vertigo and he can't get out of bed at times. Really? Yeah, I would imagine it can be very problematic, specifically if you can't keep your balance. The Hood really said the feds control Google too, though. I'm sure they likely do, but at the end of the day, beloved, Queen, I would say yes because it can interfere with our service. Exactly. Well, I know the answer is yes. I just want to show you all. Okay. Now, here it is right here. Please pay attention. I don't know if you all can see that, but it says yes. Okay. I said if you're picked as a juror, do you have to disclose a medical condition? It says yes. If you have a medical condition that would significantly impair your ability to serve on a jury, you are generally required to disclose it during jury selection. Okay. This ensures that the court can make informed decisions about your eligibility and whether accommodations can be made for your condition. All right. So the answer is yes, just as I knew. With that all being said, I find it interesting because did this juror, in fact, inform the court that he had vertigo? Okay, I'm willing to bet no. And if not, I guarantee you the defense is going to have an issue with that and try to get him ousted from the trial. Okay, please pay attention. Now, that all being said, listen, with days before the trial comes to a close and the juries get ready to deliberate, all of these things are happening that are problematic. Okay, and I find it very interesting. Now, is this just happenstance or coincidence? I don't know, but I find it very interesting. But also, let me just tell you all this tidbit of information. Now, this came from Queen Sheba. Okay, Queen Sheba Darling did a video about 4 or 5 hours ago where she says that when she was in court today, as we were leaving, there was a person from a media outlet who was caught red-handed with their cell phone in the building. Now, I find that all very interesting because what are you doing with your cell phone in the building? And specifically after Judge Subramanian just went in, okay, just went in yesterday, wasn't it? When he said that there was information that was divulged, that was private information that was sealed, and that there was no one in the court when this information was disclosed except for the defense team and the prosecution, okay, and the judge. But somehow, some way, this information got out. It was leaked. And there was an article about it. And that article supposedly came from TMZ. Now the article has been removed. But with that all being said, if there's already leaks going on, okay, why would someone from a major publication sneak a cell phone in? Don't you all find that interesting? What were they doing? Were they trying to record the proceedings? What did they think they were going to do? I guess they were shocked when they found out there was no court for the day and it was all adjourned. But they snuck this phone in. And so, according to Queen Sheba, she says that they were reprimanded by one of the marshals and basically told that if they did it again, they would be banned. Well, I find that interesting because shouldn't they, in fact, have been banned right then and there and possibly face further consequences? Because I can guarantee you, if someone who looks like me got caught with a cell phone, which is a complete violation, when we go into the courtroom each morning, we have to turn in our cell phones, all electronic devices. Okay. We have to turn in, even if you have earpods, you have to turn those things in. You're not supposed to bring, and you're supposed to turn your cell phones off the minute you enter the court. But once you go through the metal detector and all of that, you have to turn your things in. Okay. And they give you something so that you can come back and pick it up when you leave. Now, the fact that someone who is with a major media outlet, now she didn't say who they were because she said she's going to give them grace, but she said she knows exactly who it is. And you know what I was thinking when she said this? I said, damn, because somebody sent me the video of her talking about it. And I said, damn, you know what? I shouldn't have been moving so fast because I literally was sitting right behind Queen Sheba. Okay, she was taking a little extra long, according to her, to get her things together. I got my things together quickly and hightailed it out of there because I wanted to rush outside and do a video to let you all know what happened and how court was canceled for the day. And also so I can get to where I'm going, so I can go enjoy my day. But at the end of the day, honey, now I wish I had stayed. I wish I had stayed, okay? Because one thing about it, honey, is I absolutely would have told you all who it was. I absolutely would have told you all who it was. Sure would have. All right. I sure would have spilled all of the tea and wouldn't have cared who got mad. Now, with that all being said, I find it interesting, and that's very irresponsible, but it's also favoritism, in my opinion, for this person not to have been banned immediately. Okay. And that's another thing that I noticed about the court. There's a lot of little shenanigans going on that I see. And if you remember days ago, I told you that there is a marshal who, in my opinion, appears to be racist. He speaks to Black people with a very stern, hostile, angry, rude tone. But then I saw a Caucasian man with his phone out the other day. As I told you, now I don't know if this man was a lawyer, but I don't know if I don't think that he was, because he was sitting right in front of me, like in a pew in front of me, and he pulled out his cell phone during court. And the marshal walked over and whispered to him and said, "Sir, you need to put your phone up until you leave out of court." And I'm thinking, what in the hell is he doing with the phone in here anyway? Okay, I have several questions. Okay, now he wasn't with the media. He looked to be a regular person. Maybe he was a lawyer, but if he was, he wasn't a lawyer that was working on the case. So, I was just wondering about that. But nonetheless, he spoke to him in a very nice tone. But here's another thing I noticed. That same marshal, today, there were some Black women who came in, and this was their first time being in the main court. Now, after being there for days and even weeks, the marshals start to recognize us. They start to remember who you are, and they see you on a regular basis. But when they see new people, well, they know that these are new people because, hey, they've not seen you before. So he walks over to these Black women. Now, mind you, there was also a Caucasian woman who had not been there before, and she was sitting right in front of the Black women who were sitting next to me. He comes over, and guess what he asked them? I want you all to pay attention. Okay? I want you all to pay attention. He comes over, and then he says to them, "What's your interest in the case? Like, why are you here?" And they're like, "What?" He says, "Yeah, this is the 6th week of the trial. And so what's your interest? Like, why are you here? Because I've never seen you before." First of all, who in the hell does he think he is to be asking these Black women what is their interest in the case? And why does he think that they have to give him an explanation? They weren't doing anything wrong. They were simply sitting in the court, minding their own Black business, waiting for court to start, which it never did. We left. But the bottom line is he came over and asked them what's their interest in the case. Excuse me, sir, who do you think you are? Okay. So they told him that they had been there before, but they had just happened to be in the overflow room downstairs. This was their first time in the main court. And he's like, "Oh, where the rules are different in main court than they are in the overflow. They're different here." With such an attitude, okay, and such a nasty, hostile tone. And the nerve that he asked these women what was their interest in the case. First of all, they don't have to tell him what their interest in the case is. Okay? They don't have to tell him any damn thing. They came there because it's open to the public. That's what I would have told him. Gwendolyn said, "Queen, you were funny." I'm not even trying to be funny. I'm being very serious, beloved, because that ticked me off. Like, it's the nerve of it. He's blatantly racist, okay? He's blatantly racist. At the end of the day, And now I see why that woman whom they say is crazy had that outburst. She did call him racist. And at first I thought she was just saying that as well because she's probably crazy. But absolutely, he's racist. I have to agree with her on that. Now, with that all being said, there were shenanigans just going on, honey. So let's talk about the judge's orders. I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to share my screen so we can look at this. It's only about 2 pages long, but we're going to go over this. Like some, everyone, please don't forget to like and share it. Thank you in advance, beloveds. Thanks again to those of you who contribute, whether you send super chat donations or you send cash apps. I appreciate you. Okay, because y'all know it is expensive out here in New York, and the queen needs all the help she can get. So I appreciate those of you who care enough to chip in, honey. Okay. So now, with that all being said, let's get into it. Let's get into it. Now, here is what the judge sent today. This is dated today. United States of America against Sean Combs, Arun Subramanian, United States District Judge. To prepare for the jury's deliberation in this case, the court instructs the parties as follows. The government shall collect and prepare a laptop that contains all non-physical exhibits admitted and nothing else. The laptop shall not contain any demonstratives used or any exhibits not admitted into evidence. And you know, speaking of deliberations, right? I'm just wondering how long is it going to be for the jury to deliberate? Now we know that when they actually come back quickly, well, we already know that means they got a guilty verdict. Okay, we know that means they got a guilty verdict at the end of the day, because when they cannot come to a complete decision where everybody is in agreement and everyone is aligned, well, you know how that goes. It can take a while. Now, I'm sure Diddy and his team are hoping that it's going to take them at least a couple of days to come back, right? Because that might be a good sign for them. They come back in an hour or two, they come marching back in real quick. Well, you already know that's bad news. Okay, you already know that's bad news. Please pay attention. Okay, so now with that all being said, let's get back into it. Okay, so where was I? Hold on. Hold on, hold on. Okay, so hold on, beloveds. I lost my place. Let me just start back at the top. Okay, the government shall collect and prepare a laptop that contains all non-physical exhibits admitted and nothing else. The laptop shall not contain any use demonstratives used or any exhibits not admitted into evidence. The government shall share such a laptop with the defense for its review by Monday, June 23rd of 2025. The parties may add exhibits to this laptop through to the close of evidence in this case. Now, prior to closing arguments, the court will require each side to confirm on the record that it has reviewed the laptop and that the laptop contains all electronic evidence admitted and only the electronic evidence admitted. Now, on or before the date of closing arguments, the government shall collect and identify to the defense all physical exhibits admitted as evidence in this case. Non-contraband exhibits will be provided to jury in the jury room upon request. Any contraband admitted as evidence will remain in the courtroom for the jury's viewing there. Again, the physical evidence may be supplemented through to the completion of evidence. Prior to closing arguments, the court will require each side to confirm on the record that the parties have gathered all physical evidence that was admitted and that is available in the courtroom. Now, on or before the date of closing arguments, the parties should meet and confer and submit to the court a jointly agreed upon list of all exhibits admitted with descriptions of each exhibit. The parties should agree upon each exhibit description. The court will provide such a list to the jury during its deliberation to aid in its deliberations. The parties may supplement this list through to the completion of evidence. Now, on or before the date of closing arguments, the parties shall meet or should meet and confer regarding the redactions necessary for the transcripts should the jury request portions of the transcript be submitted to them during deliberations. The court recognizes that the parties will likely be unable to meet and confer on such redactions for the entire transcript. However, the parties should do so for the witnesses that they believe the jury will most likely ask for. During deliberations, the court expects the parties to deal with any redactions promptly should the jury request portions of the transcripts that the parties have not previously met and conferred upon. So ordered, dated June 18th of 2025, and that is signed Judge Arwen Subramanian. Okay, so those are the instructions for both of the parties, the defense and the prosecution. So all of the evidence is going to be on a laptop, and they'll have to double check and make sure everything is on there that they need prior to their closing arguments. The judge doesn't want any mishaps, doesn't want any shenanigans being pulled. And let me tell you, the judge was very stern when he spoke, okay, about the information being leaked, saying that he's going to conduct a swift and thorough investigation. And there's going to be consequences and repercussions when he finds out whoever leaked that stuff. So whoever did it, they should probably be concerned. Okay, that's what they should do. They should probably be just a bit concerned. Now let's talk about TMZ. Okay, this article, Diddy trial, Vertigo court canceled over a medical issue. Then they had the nerve. TMZ is wrong for this. They had the nerve to put a picture of Diddy right next to Alfred Hitchcock for that movie Vertigo that he produced or directed. Okay, they say it's like right out of a Hitchcock movie, but not really. The judge pulled the plug in the Diddy trial Wednesday after learning one of the jurors came down with vertigo. They said, we don't know the underlying condition of the juror in question, but the evidence was truly head spinning this week, with jurors fixated on various freak off videos. Now I want y'all to pay attention because TMZ is making light of this and throwing shade at the same time. They say the evidence was truly head spinning. Well, your head spins when you have vertigo, so clearly they're throwing shade. Okay, I want y'all to pay attention. But that all been said, they say jurors put on their headphones Tuesday and watched about 10 minutes of the freak off footage featuring sex scenes from Diddy, Cassie, and male escorts. You could hear a pin drop in the courtroom as the peanut gallery heard moans bleeding through the headphones. Yeah. A peanut gallery? Do y'all hear this? Do you all remember when I told you that somebody had their mic up too loud and we could hear a bit of it? When I did that video yesterday, I was telling you all how we could hear something and we're trying to figure out what's going on. And then one of the marshals went and told them, say, listen, y'all need to turn that down because they can hear it. Did he just call us the damn peanut gallery? I like their nerve. Yeah, that's what he said. He said you could hear a pin drop in the courtroom as the peanut gallery heard moans bleeding through the headphones. They are wrong for this, but let me continue. It's a shade of it all for me. Judge Arwen Subramanian canceled proceedings on what would have been the 26th day of testimony. He told those assembled that a juror was experiencing symptoms of vertigo on their way in and had to turn around and go home. Diddy's former assistant and alleged rug mule, Brendan Paul, was expected to be called to the stand today. Paul's been granted immunity to testify. Now, the court is dark on Thursday in observance of the Juneteenth holiday and will resume on Friday. And mind you, like I said, on Friday, it is going to be a half day from 9 to 1. I don't know, honey. I might stay home Friday. Let me think. No, I can't stay home because Brendan Paul's going to testify, so I got to be there. Okay, I've got to be there. With that all being said, so what do you all think? Do you all think these things are just coincidences or there's something sketchy going on? Because I just find it just really very interesting. Okay, and it is a bit suspicious as far as I'm concerned. I mean, one mishap after another. First, issues with juror number 6, then alleged issues with juror number 7, then a juror has vertigo and courts canceled for the day, and then Queen Sheba reports that a big time media publication, one of their people was caught with a phone in the courtroom. The judge complains of leaked information. Do you all hear all of these things happening? Okay, all of these things happening one after the other. You don't think this is all sketchy as hell? What's going on here? Is someone, in fact, trying to derail this trial? Is someone trying to make it a mistrial? What's going on? Because I'm going to tell you right now, when the judge came out the other day talking about the leaked information, okay, I basically thought that he was going to declare a mistrial. Okay, I was sitting there holding my breath. All right. And you already know that Diddy's team filed for a motion for a mistrial when they removed juror number 6. What do you think they're going to do now? Okay, they're definitely going to want that juror that got sick and caused for court to be disrupted. They're definitely going to want him out of there. Okay, no doubt in my mind. No doubt in my mind, specifically when they say they see that this is someone whom they probably know would not be in Diddy's favor. Okay, I want y'all to pay attention. Okay, Rhea said, I wish people would stop because they will make it close to the public next. You know, that's what I was thinking, beloved, with all these shenanigans. Okay, with all these things going on. But hey, it's not the public, though. The information that got leaked was not the public. That was somebody from the prosecution or the defense, according to the judge. And the person caught with that cell phone was not the public either. According to Queen Sheba, it was someone from a media publication, a reporter. So it's not the public that's acting a fool and doing things that they have no business doing. It's these other folks. Okay, it's these other folks. You got all kind of shenanigans going on around here, and I find it all very interesting. Then you have fights in the lines outside. Okay, people pulling out blades. Honey, they said a man pulled out blades the other day. Okay, the police and the ambulance came. I think they took him to a mental facility. You have people out there knocking people's phones out of their hands, trying to attack people. It's just all crazy. Do y'all know what I have to go through? All right, we're out there putting our lives on the line to get this footage, you guys. It's like we're out there in a rock trying to report the news. Okay, please pay attention. Okay, shout out to all the YouTubers who are out there risking it all just to get the information and the tea for you all. All right, well, y'all would no sooner, y'all would just as soon leave us out there for dead. Okay, Reggie said they still don't have the real tapes either. Yeah, I don't think they do, Reggie. They only have the tapes that Cassie gave them, supposedly. Look at Rhea talking about child. Okay. Reggie said the police and the ambulance. Yes, honey, they were both out there. Okay. They were about to take the guy to jail, but then I think they realized that he may have been mentally incompetent, and then they called the ambulance and had him carted off the way to one of those hospitals, I suppose. This is all a hot mess. Gwendolyn said, Queen, you be safe out there. Honey, I'm trying. Okay, I already got attacked one time, honey, at the end of the day. Isn't it all crazy? It's all crazy, y'all. I'll be so glad to get back home, honey, so I can do my regular lives. So when this trial is over, I cannot wait. All right, I cannot wait. So with that all being said, retired federal officer Carol Bates said, you have jokes. Honey, I am very serious. Honey, my life's on the line. Don't y'all get it? Don't y'all get it? I'm literally risking it all, people. Okay? So anyway, let's go through this New York Post article. Sick juror derails Diddy's trial as rapper's rug mule was set to testify. First of all, let's talk about where KK is. Has anybody seen KK, aka Christina Courtroom? Where is she? Where is this woman and why hasn't she been called? Okay, are they building a case against her right now? They should be. Because as far as I'm concerned, she's just as guilty as Diddy. I mean, if you all heard the or read those text messages and the audio, honey, she was down with all of it. Okay, she was party to all of the crimes. Okay, she absolutely was. Somebody said she's hiding. She probably is. Eventually said probably out of the country. Okay, and where's D-Rock? Okay, where is he? Because both of these people, in my opinion, are nothing more than unindicted co-conspirators. They should both be sitting on either side of Diddy. Okay, that's what they should be doing. Specifically, KK, ranging freak offs, supposedly paying off the S workers, arranging things and giving people rugs to traffic or to carry from one place to another, according to Jane Doe. Okay, this is all crazy. Bookhorse DC says she fled the country. She hauled ass. Nubian Cutie said, I would be said she would be hiding. You would be hiding out in a cave in Bali. You all are something else. Reggie said maybe they're the last to testify. Honey, testify for who? Here's the thing. She's not testifying for the prosecution. She's not testifying for the prosecution. And I doubt seriously she would testify for the defense. I don't know. Maybe she would, but I doubt it very seriously. Hold on, let me see something. Likes up, everyone. Please like and share. Hold on, I'm almost done. I'm checking something real quick. Okay, so yeah, so here are the people that are going to testify. Now we know she's not testifying for the prosecution because there's three people left to testify. Okay, I had to go to my little files to make sure of who are the last people to testify. So they have Brendan Paul, as we all know, who takes a stand on Friday. And then, of course, he's Diddy's former personal assistant, as well as the alleged rug mule. But then also, there's two summary witnesses who are also going to testify. Okay, so I would think that those testimonies are going to be brief. Brendan Paul is probably going to take a whole day. So since there's a half a day on Friday, he'll probably end up testifying on Friday and part of Monday. That's just what I'm thinking. And then we'll have the two summary witnesses, and those are not going to be KK. Okay, and then, like I said, the defense is going to come out, and they need 2 to 3 days to have their witnesses get up on the stand. So I just think that KK, honey, KK is probably in Costa Rica somewhere. Okay, Mel said this is a long, drawn out trial. You think it's long and drawn out? It's been kind of quick for me. I mean, because it's only been 26 days. Well, today would have been the 26th day of testimony had it not been adjourned. Reggie said, I can't wait to hear from Brendan. I can't either. I can't either. I want to hear what he has to say. And I'm pretty sure it's going to be a lot. Okay, I'm pretty sure it's going to be a lot. So, now while we're on here, let's talk about Mr. Tyler Perry for just a second. Hold on. No. Let's go through this New York Post article about Brendan Paul first, and then we'll talk about Mr. Tyler Perry. For those of you who missed the live last night, please go back and watch it. I did show the documents, the entire lawsuit. It's like 46 pages. The man had text messages and everything from Tyler Perry. Now, if you're going to be Essie actually harassing people, and I'm not saying that Tyler Perry did, because these are allegations. They have not been substantiated as of yet. And for future, just for the record, Mr. Perry has not ever been charged in a court of sexual assault or harassment. Okay. Now, we do know that Christian Keys made some allegations sometime last year, but he never said the name of that person, though he did say enough to when many people thought that it was Tyler Perry. Now, what I will say is this. Let me just hush because I'm supposed to be talking about that next. Okay, hold on. Let me just get into this article. All right. So anyway, here's what they say. Sean Diddy Combs' bombshell ass trafficking trial was derailed Wednesday because of a sick juror, as the rapper's alleged rug mule had been poised to begin testimony. Now, a Manhattan federal judge, Arvin Subramaniam, informed Combs and his lawyers and prosecutors just after 9 a.m. that the juror had been experiencing vertigo symptoms. Said, I don't see how we can proceed today. Let me tell y'all something. When the judge said that, you guys, when the judge said that the juror got sick, I didn't think that they were going to cancel court. But when the judge said, I don't see how we can proceed, when he said that, you could have seen the gasp on the faces of the people in the room. Because I was like, wait, what? You mean to tell me I came all the way down here, stood in this long arse line for hours, and there is no court today? I mean, like I told you guys, I was disappointed but thrilled at the same time. But anyway, let me continue. So, Brendan Paul, a former college basketball player who allegedly supplied Combs with rugs, arrived in court Wednesday morning as he was slated to begin testifying as the last major witness in the prosecution's case against the hip hop mogul. The closely watched trial will be put on hold until Friday morning because the Juneteenth federal holiday is on Thursday. Now, Paul, 25 years old, was arrested on March 26th of 2024, around the same time the feds raided the Bad Boy Records founders' Miami and Los Angeles homes. Do you all ever ask yourselves, because I do, why when they raided Diddy's Star Island residence, and that's two-star island, why did they raid number one? Y'all don't find that interesting? Why did they raid both of them? And then remember when King Combs did that song saying, but what they forgot about is we own the house next door? Or he said something about they raided the wrong house. You know, that's probably where those real tapes are that I was telling y'all about that I think Diddy still has in his possession and that quite frankly, they'd love to know where they are. Okay? But anyway, let me continue. Now, so with that all being said, Paul was found with Coca Cola, and not the kind you drink, the kind that goes towards your nose, and Mary Jane Candy when he was cuffed just as he was about to board Combs' plane in Miami. The feds dropped the case against Paul in December after he completed a rug treatment diversion program and also agreed to testify against Diddy, I'm sure. But that's just my opinion. Now, on Tuesday, when the jurors were not in the courtroom, Paul briefly took the witness stand to plead the fifth and exercise his right to not incriminate himself. However, prosecutors then said they would grant him immunity if he testified truthfully in the case. Now, in a $30 million lawsuit filed by producer Rodney Jones, aka Lil Rod, against Combs last year, the Hooper turned amateur music producer was accused of being Combs' rug mule, who also supplied him with guns. Now, Paul, an Ohio native, played Division I basketball at Syracuse University from 2018 to 2020 before he transferred to Fairmont State University to play for a Division II team for his last 2 years. The baller is expected to be the last major witness in prosecutor's case against the I'll Be Missing You rapper. After Paul, only two more law enforcement witnesses are scheduled to testify before the prosecution rests its case. Combs' lawyer, Mark Agnifilo, on Monday indicated that the defense their case would last as little as 2 days. He said he planned to call at least 3 witnesses, including 2 former employees of Combs's and a paralegal at Agnifilo's firm. The scheduling announcement by the attorney suggested that Combs will not testify in his own defense. Well, I want y'all to pay attention because they said they're going to call 2 former employees of Combs's. Now, here's the question. What if those former employees are D-Rock and KK? What if it's D-Rock and KK, you guys? Could it be? Because they haven't said the names of these people, and they were being very closed-mouthed when asked about it in court. Okay, the judge asked them about it twice, 2 days in a row. And Mark Agnifilo was acting like he didn't want to really spill the tea as to exactly who was going to testify. Okay, now I do remember that he said about 2 people, but I don't think it's going to be KK and D-Rock, but wouldn't it be interesting if it was? KK and D-Rock are probably somewhere on an island sipping on margaritas, honey, waiting for it all to go down. Okay, and glad that they escaped being indicted. Please pay attention. Rhea says, I have to give you a special thanks, off topic. You resemble my aunt so much. She passed away in 97 and my life was wrecked over it. Thanks to you, she finally came through my dream the other night and my heart is so full. Well, thank you, beloved. That is a beautiful thing to say. I am so honored and I am so sorry for your loss. My condolences. But I am so glad, that you told me that I look like your aunt. Okay, and that I remind you of her. I really appreciate you. And thank you for your contribution to the channel, beloved. Peace, love, and blessings. Now look at Nubia Cutie saying, I really think KK is gone. Well, I think she is too. I think she is too. Gwendolyn says, thank you. The queen says, at real, thank you. The queen reminds me of my daughter. Well, thank you. I think KK and D-Rock, like I told you guys, I think they're probably somewhere laid out by the beach, sipping on margaritas, honey, okay? Waiting for this whole thing to be over. probably laughing and counting a duffel bag full of cash, okay, that they stole from Diddy once they knew he was going down for the count. Please pay attention. Okay, they know where all the bones are buried. And another thing is, where is Fahim Muhammad? Has anybody seen hide nor tell of him? Lawyer said probably TD Jakes. We know it's not TD Snakes because, for one, TD Snakes actually messed around and stepped down from his ministry right before the trial. Well, we certainly didn't find that suspicious, did we? Okay, what was he thinking? I have several questions. Okay, I have several questions. Nubian Q said they took that money. Okay. Retired federal police officer Carol Banks says, we love the Queen. Thank you. And I love you all too. I just find it all so interesting. Like, these people, are they just hightailed it out of here, is what I think. I told you guys, if Diddy gets off, I'm leaving this country and going straight to Costa Rica. So it is imperative that they find the diddler guilty. Okay? It is imperative. All right. And so Durana said, facts, Queen, where is he? Yes, I have several questions. Mel said TD Fake is running. Y'all are something else. Now hold on. Let me go see, because I think I saw TMZ did an update. Hold on. Let me run to TMZ real quick and see what they have going on, because they always got something about Diddy. Matter of fact, you know what? No, let me go to Armand Wiggins, because Armand was on News Nation. Let me pull that up. Let me go to News Nation, you guys. Hold on. We're going to look at that, and then I'm going to see what I can find from TMZ, because I saw something pop up from them earlier about Diddy. I didn't have time to watch it. Okay, hold on, beloveds. Likes up, everyone, please. Don't forget to like and share. Thank you in advance. Let me see here. Hold on. Okay, here we go. Oh, wait a minute. No, that's not the one. Hold on. That's not the one. Hold on. I'm trying to find the one from last night. There was one from last night. And let me tell you all this. Now, let's talk about Tyler Perry. While I'm looking for this, let's talk about Tyler Perry. Okay, how many of you all think, by a show of ones in the chat, Nubia Cutie said KK been building that nest egg. Diddy was bound to get caught eventually. Okay, right. She likely was. I mean, she was in charge of some of the monetary transactions. Now, a show of ones in the chat. How many of you think that Tyler Perry did what he has been accused of? Ones in the chat, if you believe, in fact, that Tyler Perry did what he has, in fact, been accused of by this actor, Derek Dixon. What do y'all think? Y'all think Tyler Perry did it? Oh, Lord. Y'all said ones? Yeah, it's given guilty, Tyler Perry. It's given guilty. It's given guilty. Because here's the thing. Some of what that man said sounds a whole lot like what Christian Keys said. Deronda said Ahmadiyyah did it. Okay, it sounds a whole lot. It sounds a whole lot like what Christian Keys said. Now, when you think about the fact that the man said that Tyler Perry bought him a car, Christian Keys said the same thing about the person he was talking about. He said the person bought him a car. He never said who the person was, mind you, but he did say that that person bought him a car. And then also, Christian Keys told a story about him being at the house of this person and having been a little inebriated, and they told him he could sleep in the guest room. And when he woke up, the person was in the bed with him. And Derek Dixon said the same thing. He said the same thing. So, and we saw those text messages. We saw those text messages, honey. Okay, that was the receipts right there. Looked like Tyler was flirting with that man. Okay, if those are actually Tyler Perry's text messages, and I believe that they are. Perry. All I'm saying is Tyler Perry needs to tread lightly and be very, very careful before he finds himself in a little situation like Diddy. Okay, he needs to be very careful. April said they were lovers. Overthought said Tyler is clearly nefarious. I agree. They could have been lovers because, at the end of the day, it's given a little more extra was probably going on that he's not telling. But the bottom line is the story sounds the same. When he said that Tyler was holding stuff over his head, talking about killing his character off the show if he didn't comply and all of that stuff. Let me tell you something. I watched that show. And that guy, he sure did get shot. I thought he was going to be dead too, but he came back for the next season. So I don't know. But I know one thing Tyler Perry does have some nice looking people, the men and the women on his shows. Okay. He darn sure has nice looking people on all those shows. All right. And that's no coincidence. So it clearly looks to me, is he going by talents or looks? All right. That's all I'm saying. I think Tyler Perry absolutely probably was saying things to that man that were inappropriate. But I do think the man should have nipped it in the bud from the get go. I would have just told him right off the bat. I don't get down like that. I just want to work and make my money. I don't want to be, get involved in anything that could potentially turn out bad for me. Thank you very much. Okay. April said my mom's favorite show. They are attractive. Yes, yes, they are. Okay, Reggie says Tyler has the power to coerce. Absolutely. These big time people in Hollywood and the music industry, they always have the upper hand because they have power, money, their wealth and their power and the ability, the way that they can either make you or break you. I mean, look at Monique, how Monique was blackballed. Look at all the people that claim to have been blackballed by Jay-Z and Beyonce. Okay? These people can literally make you or break you. So what do you do when you find yourself in that sort of predicament? I remember when I was growing up as a teenager specifically, I would hear about people who slept their way to the top. And I would frown upon them and be like, that's what they're doing to get where they want to go. But then as I got older, I started finding out that these people may have slept their way to the top, but they may have been coerced into doing so. Okay? They may have had things, they may have been put in positions to where they weren't really given too much of a choice. Okay? And that goes for the men and the women. So that's just really sad. That is really sad and so egregious, in my opinion. It should be based on your talent and your ability to perform. But that's not what's needed these days. Now it's about power and control. Well, I guess that's what it's always been about, really. Okay, we're just now starting to find out about all the shenanigans after the Me Too movement came out. And all of these people came out against Harvey Weinstein. And that's when we started realizing how these men who are these moguls and who control the strings, how they can control people's careers and even control the actions of people in some cases. Okay, but now let's get to this News Nation video. I'm going to share my screen. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Yes, Reggie, it is sad. Durana said Tyler probably be fantasizing about the men sitting in that director's chair. You never know, okay? I mean, he definitely picked some good looking ones as far as I can see. All right, so let's get into it. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance.
What's worse than being forced to watch Diddy's freak-off tapes? Being forced to watch them twice. I feel for those jurors. They were chosen to sit in judgment of Diddy, but that's what they had to endure today. Only this time, Diddy's lawyers were the ones making them watch the tapes. Yesterday, it was the prosecution. Special Agent DeLeasa Penland showed more than 15 minutes of Diddy's porn, different segments from yesterday's tapes, and the jurors and the lawyers all had to wear headphones because, nobody else could see the screens, just the jurors. just the people involved in the case, the lawyers at defense table and at the prosecution table, judge, right? Diddy too. But Diddy was allowed to watch the videos from a side room during the morning hours. So imagine being a fly on the wall in there. The reason that his lawyers are showing the tapes again is because they're trying to prove that the sex that these people are having to watch on tape, all that kinky business, that was consensual, they say. Especially, when Diddy's lawyers could remind the jury of text messages from Cassie like this one, quote, "I'm always ready." But the feds say this wasn't kink, it was commerce, complete with a system and a playbook. And they show dozens of receipts for flights and escorts and hotels that were paid for by Puffy's business. Jury was also shown what happened after that now infamous 2016 hotel beating video. There was a barrage of text messages to Cassie, Diddy writing, "I'm about to be arrested," which was not true, and "call me please," over and over and over again. Days later.
Now, let me tell you all something. When Diddy tried that crap right there, when I tell you it was all I could do to not burst out laughing in court, as we're reading those text messages they had them up on the screen. And Diddy's sitting there lying, telling Cassie, because at this point he's desperate. Okay? At this point, he's desperate. Okay? Sitting there talking about, "Call me. I'm about to get arrested." "The police are here. I'm going to jail." Well, that's where he should have gone, if you ask me. But sitting up there and lying, these are the actions of a narcissist, okay? These are the actions of a narcissist and an abuser. They run game on those that they abuse to try to make you feel guilty, for what they did to you. Okay? It is mental gymnastics. This is what they do. They beat the crap out of you, psychologically abuse you, verbally abuse you, physically abuse you, and then they're the victim all of a sudden. "Call me back. The police are here. I'm going to jail. If you don't call me, you'll never hear my voice again." This is what he was saying. Okay, I found it all so nefarious. I mean, I literally want to bust out laughing in the court. I mean, one day I literally snickered so loud, I thought they were going to kick me out, and I'm not even joking. The marshal looked right at me. It was hilarious. But the only reason he probably didn't kick me out is because he wanted to laugh too. Okay? Okay, at the end of the day, it was all so crazy. Claudette said he's spoken into existence. Yes, he did. Not to mention, when he was on that show that day, he did say that one day he's going to be going to jail for his parties. Do you all remember that? You all remember that when Diddy said he's going to be going to jail for his parties, and now he did? I thought it all so interesting. And then remember the song lyrics that 50 Cent wrote for him, where he said, "Tell the feds, the DA, and the DA to come and get me." I mean, and then he was in Monsters Ball when he was literally in prison on death row. So, it is nothing more than art imitating life. And Diddy, I do believe, manifested many of the things that he's now dealing with. That's just my opinion, but let's keep listening.
Later, he texted her, "Baby, I can't say it enough. I'm so sorry." To which Cassie responded, quote, "I still have crazy bruising from Friday when you get effed up the wrong way. You always want to show me that you have the power and you knock me around. I'm not some rag doll. I'm somebody's child." Government also showed evidence of a cover-up behind the scenes. Staff members trying to scrub hotel security footage of the beating. Diddy's chief of staff, this lady here, Christina Courtroom, texting an assistant, quote, "Say they had a fun, drunk night." And, quote, "He wants to talk to the Spanish security guard," end quote. And here is the list of hotel damage receipts. $500 for the drapes, $950 for deep cleaning, $46,786,000 for quote unquote penthouse damage. I don't think I've ever seen a bill like that. $46,786 for penthouse damage. All of it apparently paid through Diddy's companies, which according to the government makes it a pattern of illegal and coerced sex paid for and carried out by Diddy's enterprise, AKA racketeering and sex trafficking. But before all of that even started, the judge lit into both of the sides in the courtroom, angry about a media leak, about that new juror that just got on the panel yesterday. And the judge is threatening contempt and phone seizures. He's super mad. My next guest was in the courtroom for all of it. Armon Wiggins is a journalist and author who moved to New York just to cover this trial, which he breaks down on his YouTube show and podcast, The Armon Wiggins Show. Armon, welcome back to the show. Good to have you again. Dang, it was spicy in that courtroom today.
Yes, I mean, hi, first of all, hello, Ashley. It's always a good time coming on here, so I'm excited to be here. So,
Me
yes,
too. I'm psyched to have you, especially you have the front row seat. Like you have, I can write about it. You can speak, firsthand about it.
Yeah, everything that you said was true. We walked in that courtroom today. The judge was not having it. He was upset with the prosecution and he was upset with the defense because apparently they put out sealed exhibits to some sort of media and that got published. Now, we didn't know what the article was or what media company, put it out, but they were not happy. And the judge was saying, listen, this is your warning because one of you guys are lying. So this is your warning. But if this happens again, you guys are going to be subjected to witness testimony and could be facing criminal or civil charges.
Well, and this judge seems to be pretty, level-headed, even keeled. So to hear him raise his voice, that must really have meant something to these parties. Talk to me about the tapes. I can't imagine look, not everybody wants to watch Diddy sex tapes, right? Not everybody wants to. And I get this feeling that watching those jurors, having to watch those tapes, you probably could tell that people didn't want to be there.
I'm going to be honest with you. From yesterday to today, listen, I was trying to listen hard to see what was going on. So the first day, they played the tapes, and we're sitting in the gallery, obviously. So they turn up all the monitors so we can't hear, or we can't see it. But we could hear a little bit. Now, the first day, it was a little awkward because you could hear some moaning and you heard the sex music and you kind of hear some things. You couldn't really make out what was going on, but you could tell it was definitely a freak off happening. Now, today, the volume was just a little bit louder and you could hear some kind of talking and stuff. A bailiff ended up coming out and saying, hey, judge, they have the headphones too close to the microphone. We can hear everything. So they ended up turning down the headphones. However, when you took a look at the jury stand, because we're trying to figure out what's happening, what's happening with the jurors, I'm trying to find any motion in the face. There was a particular woman, older lady, she wasn't going for it. She wasn't happy to see it each day. She was extremely uncomfortable. You could see it in her face. She would try to kind of cover her mouth sometimes and cover her face, but the look of disgust, she couldn't avoid it. You've seen it every time. She did not want to be there. She did not want to be looking at those tapes. There was another guy that was, as he would watch the tapes, as they would play different tapes, he would snatch his headphones off and in a way all right, I'm done. Whereas other people would kind of just sit and kind of endure and wait until, the next tape got played. But he would snatch his headphones off. And there was one guy, I was really watching him though, because he'd kind of sit back, and kind of watch it. But then when it would get good or interesting, I don't know if it ever got good, but something that you would kind of be all right, let me look at this a little bit more. You would kind of see him kind of move a little bit, and he would kind of really get a little bit closer. And then at one point, he even started looking around in a way to be are y'all seeing what I'm seeing? And so I zeroed in on him for a while. So And at that moment, you could kind of look around the rest of the jury pool and see that everybody was intently looking at these tapes. So I'm imagining there was a lot going on those tapes today.
Kind of feel like it would be embarrassing too, right? Because you're watching something that's just so incredibly personal. And maybe some of these jurors feel like they're watching someone being assaulted as opposed to somebody who's willing. So there could be a lot of discomfort. And, God, imagine just, they're watching porn, and there's other people who know that. There's an entire gallery watching them watching porn. So I can't imagine the awkwardness. Real quickly tomorrow, Brendan Paul, he came onto the stand today and he got immunity. So tomorrow he's going to testify. What are we expecting from him? It better be big because he's one of the final witnesses.
Honestly, okay, really quick. So I think that it's pretty much done because From what they showed today, that streamline of receipts with the hotels and the text messages and the videos. I mean, the summary witnesses did their thing today for the prosecution. Now, Brendan, we know him to be the drug mule that got arrested. So, he's honestly the glorified Louis Vuitton bag, just made a human being at this point. So he was the guy that carried all the drugs for Diddy. So I don't see this getting any better for Diddy. I think that this will be the cherry on top that goes ahead and seals the deal.
Of course, all of it allegations until there's a verdict. And my goodness, I think I heard they might be deliberating as early as next week. I'll believe it when I see it. Armand, you got to come back. Thank you for this.
Thank you so much.
Good to see you. And we will have Armand back. He's one of my faves.
If your child was molested or abused.
Okay, y'all heard that. She said Armand's one of her favorites. Is one of my favorites too. Now, with that all been said, I want you all to pay attention. Did y'all see how Brendan was looking? Brendan walked up in there looking like Secret Service. Okay, I told y'all Brendan is not about that street life. Diddy had no business having that young man carrying his rugs. Okay, he had no business doing it. That man didn't sign up for that. Okay, he was fresh out of college. Flower Lotus said that was a good interview. Yes, it absolutely was, beloved. Now, I told you all to check out Armand's video that he did with the S worker by the name of Flash. That man had muscles on top of muscles. But anyway, that's all beside the point. That man gave a very good interview. The part where he sat up there, y'all, and talked about how when he came there, he said that Diddy, he said when he walked in the room, Diddy was sitting over there with a mask on like a bandana with some sunglasses on and a hoodie tied all the way up with no bottoms on, holding baby oil. I mean, it was hilarious, okay? It was hilarious. That interview was so juicy, honey. I was there for every bit of it, okay? So anyway, honey, Diddy is just a hot mess. At the end of the day, I have to say that when Brendan Paul gets up there, that's going to be the last hurrah. Okay, that absolutely is going to be the straw that breaks the camel's back. That's going to be the end of it right there. That's why they saved the best for last. Brendan is going to come in there. I mean, we remember what was said in Rodney Jones's lawsuit. Okay, the pictures that were included in all of that. This man's going to come in there and just blow the case wide open, right? With his information that he's going to divulge. But I'm still wondering, where the hell is Fahim Muhammad? Why wasn't Fahim Muhammad arrested? Why wasn't KK arrested? D-Rock, where are these people? Do you all think there's anything suspicious about the 198 acres of land that Fahim Muhammad purchased out there at the southern border? Remember how suspicious we thought that was when I brought that to you all's attention? Who knows what's actually out there on that land? I'm just saying, where is he? We've not heard anything else about him. And I also find it interesting that that man also was Michael Jackson's chief of security and was actually in the room when Michael Jackson passed away, testified in the trial of Dr. Conrad Murphy. Isn't that his name? Michael Jackson's former doctor. So anyway, this case has had a lot of twists and turns. There have been a lot of things going on and going wrong in the last few days. Now, all this drama that they've had in the last week or so, we have not had all of these problems in the beginning of this case or the middle, but towards the end, all of the shenanigans, all of these different issues with jurors. Could this derail the trial? What is really going on here? Now, she says that she'll believe it when she sees it as far as the jury deliberating next week. I was hoping that they would, because I would love to be home for the 4th of July. Okay, I would love to be home for the 4th of July. But at the end of the day, now that we had missed a day, and then tomorrow we're going to miss 2 days actually, because tomorrow is a holiday. So this is probably going to make us go into another week, possibly. It just depends on how long it takes for the prosecution's 2 summary witnesses to take on the stand. They already told us that Brendan Paul is likely going to take an entire day. Okay. And then they have to cross-examine him. The 2 summary witnesses, I would say that they would probably finish up the prosecution. I would think that they would probably finish their case and rest on probably Monday or Tuesday. Then the defense says they have at least 3 witnesses. Well, Depending on how much they have to say, that could take up the rest of the week. How long is it going to take for the jurors to deliberate is what I'm anxious to know. So I guess we'll have to stay tuned. Everybody just stay locked in, okay? I'll be going live from court again on Friday. All right, you all know how I do. And I'll be live tomorrow. I'll probably go live in the morning since there's no court tomorrow. Yeah, that's what I'll do. I'll go live sometime tomorrow morning, maybe mid-morning, 9 or 10 o'clock. Okay, so you all make sure you tune in. Please like and share the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Make sure you double check to ensure that you're still subscribed to the channel, especially if you have not been receiving your notifications. Okay, make sure that you're still subscribed, because you know how sometimes people become unsubscribed. And shout out to the replay gang, okay, who'll watch this later. All right, with that all being said, I'm going to conclude the broadcast. You all know I love you to life. Okay, I appreciate each and every one of you. Okay, and so with that all being said, enjoy the rest of this evening. I will talk to you all again tomorrow. All right, with that being said, everyone, please make sure that you do your due diligence and make sure you're still subscribed to this channel, okay? I'm going to have to get my little texting service back up. I keep saying it, but I haven't gotten around to it. I think I'm going to have to get that back up because YouTube is not very good with sending out the notifications, okay? People complain to me all the time about not receiving the notifications, so I might have to get that service back up for you guys. Okay, so anyway, until next time, beloveds, each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember to keep the Most High first in your lives. Peace.
Hit 'em with that gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunta. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got